Today we will explore how artificial intelligence is transforming wealth management. We'll be talking about how to unlock new opportunities, deliver personalized experiences, and to build trust and efficiencies and optimize decision making and gain a competitive advantage leveraging AI. Speaking of the Indian wealth management sector and how it has been growing, it's been a little different from what's happening globally. The Ultra HNI and the HNI asset pool seems to be the fastest growing segment. And in the next 3 years, it is projected to grow to a $2 trillion market. And the real contours of growth that are, contributing to this growth is, women as a segment. And if we look at the needs of the investors, it is personalization, omni-channel access. They need integrated banking and wealth, all services at their hand 24/7 available to them. And many of them, since the behavior is now of digital first, we are talking about Gen Zs, we are talking about the next generation and the adoption of technology. So everything should be digital first. That's the ask. Just to paint the picture of what the Indian ultra HNIs and HNIs look like, let me talk about global billionaires. These are the founders of multinational conglomerates. Their key priorities are to build lasting businesses in competitive markets and grow globally. We are looking at a brand new generation of entrepreneurs, tech startups who have built wealth right from scratch and are looking at estate planning and protection of their wealth and growth of their wealth. Then there are a lot of third generation family members who have inherited generational wealth and are focusing on preserving wealth and passing it on to their next generation. We also have a lot of international executives, professionals, small business owners who are working with MNCs, and they have these financial assets that they have built. They have secondary residences. So wealth from employment is their primary source of building wealth. If I deep dive further, let's talk about, a pragmatic striver and a demanding veteran. So this person is a new HNI. He's been working with an MNC, and his goals are very simple. He wants to learn about good investment. He has a family. He's looking at his needs from his relationship manager is that the relationship managers understands that what he wants to build for his future. He wants personalized products and he wants human touch and service, whereas there is a demanding veteran who's been into this business. He's looking at retirement as a goal, and he's always on the go. He has multiple businesses or multiple demanding commitments that he's looking at. So his main requirement is convenience rather than basically building a whole knowledge curve around wealth investments. So from this perspective, the approach of a wealth manager is also very different. So wealth management, after all, is a people and trust business, and hence excellent human and consumer experience is what differentiates wealth and builds that competitive advantage, and which is why wealth managers are the key assets for any firm. So if we just go through, specifically in India, what are the top reasons for client churn? So failure to establish trust, credibility with next generation of inheritors, investor not giving given the importance or the attention that they seek, the relevancy is not there. There is lack of access to certain products also because they are looking at new types of investments like NFTs, etc. Then if there is a change of their relationship manager, that kind of breaks in the trust as well and the whole flow of how they have been investing with the firm. So if we look at the crux of things, the top key expectations are empathy. It's transparency. For the trust, the transparency is important, where their money is going, how it's growing. Relevance, relevant to their ethos, their behavior patterns, their goals is important, and convenience, because today they want access. We are not being compared to only financial services servicing industry. We are being compared to a Netflix. We are being compared to the hospitality industry. So the expectation is the best and the top convenience, 24/7 availability. So how can AI help build competitive advantage, specifically in such a people-oriented business? Before I go ahead with talking about how we can build specifically for wealth management and in the Indian market, I just want to take a pause and talk about how AI has evolved over time. And if we talk about different waves of AI, so there was initially the predictive wave wherein we were building machine learning models and we were predicting maybe the propensity to convert, the propensity to churn, engagement scores, things like that. Then came the Copilot, thanks to the language models. And so Copilot helped in, being an assistant to giving us very specific, ask, understanding the needs of that specific use case and helping out. But today we are in an all together, a different wave altogether, which is the wave of agents. And what does this do? So agents are super intelligent AI which has their own reasoning engine. It is grounded in your enterprise data. And the best and the key differentiator is that it can take actions and it can be multi-channel, these actions, whereas co-pilots were still limited to one particular specific channel, but this can be omni-channel. And I'll talk more about it as we move forward. So when it comes to what AI is essentially doing and why everybody needs to leverage AI, I mean, maybe 2-3 years down the line, we were discussing just what use cases to explore and experiment with. But today it is established that AI is the need of the hour. But what is important is how to scale and leverage the right use cases and human adoption of that AI. So value creation at scale is what is the essence of AI today. And if you're talking about, how it is happening is, so there's human capital that is required in this industry and there is revenue. And earlier we were talking about just automation, then we were talking about assistance, but now we're talking about augmenting. And I'll talk more about what it means. But just to show you what scale can do, and it is not incremental value that you will unlock, it is exponential value. So if you look at the this revenue curve, it is exponential. The human capital, because of automation, assistance, as well as augmentation, it is really bringing down your costs. Let me talk about the specific use cases as well as we move forward. So AI can serve three distinct personas specifically in the wealth industry. Let's talk about the most important customers, our investors. So it can bring in personalized experiences. It basically ensures that and it gives hyper personalization at scale. Again, everything that I'm talking about is at scale. That is the crux of the art. So when we're talking about grounded on my goals, it is understanding my needs, my behavior, giving me the right nudges and analytics. It can help your wealth managers be proactive. They can take action proactively. They can, guide their attention. They can prioritize and then, ensure that their eye is on your top line. And as a company, as a firm, AI can help you build competitive advantage so that even if your wealth managers are moving from one company to another, you're not losing out on your important customer information. You're not losing out on your customer's relationship or their portfolio. Let me elaborate. So, and this is a process, right? Everything is a change management and an adoption process. So what I've tried to do is you can't do everything all at once, but your shift to an AI first wealth management institution would cover 3 horizons. And I'm just talking about what you can do now, what we can do in the near future and plan for it, and what could be next. So what we can talk about right now immediately is increase responsiveness of your back office, from the service use cases. We can empower your wealth managers. We can look at AI, analytics augmented with AI, so giving you the right nudges and the proactive suggestions on the time. And then also how you can build it on your legacy systems, because you have already made certain, IP systems in place and algorithms in place. So how AI can still be leveraged there. In near future, we'll talk about, how we can completely transform your employees' internal experience, how they leverage AI, invisible AI, because AI, people do not really need to be technological savvy or even AI savvy to be leveraging AI. So invisible AI, how it is working towards in the workflow of your employee so that they are not switching and toggling between screens. And let me elaborate it further with what it means for wealth management. So to outperform your competition faster, here are the three main things that you should be looking at with how you are augmenting your employees with assistance and automation, how you're giving better customer experience with personalization and hyper personalization at scale, so that, with minimum number of employees, you're catering to maximum number of customers and onboarding them, and higher profitability, which means more revenues, more operational efficiencies. Salesforce, as you can see, has always been investing for the past 25 years and leveraging technology in every way possible to help you connect with your customers better. If you see from 1999, we have been investing in cloud, mobile, social, and 10 years ago, we started our AI journey. And then there has been an influx of data. And now we are talking about agents. And I'll talk about how Salesforce can help you in your AI journey moving forward. So since I was really excited about talking about the third wave and the agents, let's talk first about the agents, that there is a shift from assist to work of your workforce to augmentation. What it means is assisting your employees and augmenting your workforce. So there are two ways these agents can be leveraged. They can be assistive agents, which are like personal assistants to your internal employees, or they can be complete autonomous agents, which are like your digital employees that are also serving your customers directly. If we talk about, don't just think of these agents as to be something very complicated. You can think of them just how you train in your humans. Maybe you can think of them the lower rung uh, employees that you are, just onboarding, maybe a fresher sort of a thing, where you define the role descriptions, you explain to them what the process and tasks and the activities are. You talk about the management structures, company policies, you empower it with all the information that it is required to know. And then you talk about what are the things, and you can even set guardrails of what things they can do and what they cannot do. So why is it important? Because why are we doing all this? Because workforces today are overwhelmed. There's a lot of repetitive tasks. They've been doing low value tasks instead of focusing on selling to the customers, customer servicing. They are experiencing burnout, and customers at the same time are holding on to much higher standards. They want zero hold time. They want it all to be empathetic, personal. They want to work with an expert who knows everything at that time when they ask for it, and they want convenience. So the top challenges, if I talk specifically about wealth management, so here if we see, we do not have, most of the times our employees and relationship managers do not have a unified advisor desktop where they have to toggle between multiple systems to manage customer relationships. There is siloed data, there's trapped data that they are not really leveraging at the right time with the right nudges, or taking simple actions that can be automated for them. This leads to lack of personalized experiences for your customers. So it affects the productivity. It also basically impacts your customer retention as well. And since there is only limited capacity where a person can do just 24 hours what person can do, so there are also growth challenges. Whereas again, if you go ahead with workflow automation and orchestration, so there is so you are enabling your customer to be self-serve himself, because they are digital savvy for maybe lower touch point tasks where they just need information on their portfolio performance. They do not really need that high touch. So basically you can prioritize those and redirect it towards an automated workflow. And also the most important thing is decision making, where if you are not giving the right nudges, or you're not leveraging your data with the right analytics at the right time, there are multiple lost revenue opportunities as well, and key risk of attrition from your client as well as your wealth managers. So wealth managers can be empowered with AI to automate tasks. They'll work faster, they'll work smarter. Working faster means basically, they can leverage tools, multiple tools that will, like I was saying, there's always invisible AI, but also there are Gen AI based tools where, they can just, the agent can help them schedule their meetings. It can help them draft their emails, summarize their customer profiles, and I'll showcase that to you in a little while. They can work smarter. They can understand the specifics and the nuances of their customer. They can go to a granular level and understand the micro segments, what their motivations are, how to serve them better. And the second point is how to wow customers. So again, as I was mentioning with, intelligent customer profiles, because you get a whole customer 360 by leveraging AI and data, you get real-time assistance and recommendations. A customer is calling you live on call and you can get live recommendations based on his history and interactions and the entire profile that has been created for it. It can be personalized. It can understand the sentiment of your customer and then, give you how you should respond. So the empathy part is also built in, because it's very difficult to understand how technology would help with empathy. But here's an example of that. It can also help serve your customer who wants it to be always on, anytime, anywhere. So 24/7 support your autonomous agent can provide to your customers. Here are some use cases that are AI-based use cases in wealth management, again, linked to hyper-personalization, timely nudges and recommendations, what you can automate for productivity, and what can help support decisions. But enough talking. Let me walk you through a live demo and let's see all this in action. Let's take Ramesh. Ramesh is an HNI who's a business owner, and he's looking to invest his windfall gains into wealth advisory. He's a first-time a curious person who wants to leverage wealth advisory services, and what he's mainly looking at is to earn good return on investment. So he's already researched on multiple wealth firms. He's narrowed down on Cumulus Wealth. And what he does is just walking you through a typical journey that he would go through with an autonomous agent, which Cumulus Wealth has already initiated. So he would initiate chat at its website, and then he will inquire about its wealth products, how to get onboarded, and how can he be digitally serviced. So let me start the demo for you. So here is Cumulus Wealth's website. He's initiated chat. So the wealth agent is in action. Wealth agent asks what it can do for you, and it gives you options of what type of questions you can ask. So Ramesh is asking, what are the documents required for onboarding on wealth? So as he's asking this, what the agent will do is it will, basically refer to the grounded data that is available on your website and what has been fed to the agent. And on that basis, using RAG, it will come back with an appropriate response. So if you see here, he's talking about you require a proof of identity, a proof of address, financial statements. And based on this, now Ramesh is convinced. He says, okay, I am interested. So if you see, he's talking to it like a normal, how he would chat with a normal person. So the agent invokes some basic information required to onboard him, like full name, date of birth, mobile number, email ID, and city. Ramesh will just enter it without, giving it like how it would be required in the earlier generation of bots. It is, and he's just entering his birth date, and the agent will understand what the reference and the intent is, because it has an intelligent engine, understanding engine behind it, because it understands the intent. And if you see, it can take action as well. So the agent has already created a lead and shared that lead ID with Ramesh. Now, in the interest of time, let's assume that Ramesh is already onboarded and it's been a few months he's been with Cumulus, and now he's wants to know about how his portfolio is performing, or maybe he wants to know a few recommendations to rebalance his portfolio. Let's look at that. So can you give me a recommendation on rebalancing portfolio? If you see even if there are spelling errors, that is human that we could do. So the agent still understands it. It needs to give his customer ID. So because because we are assuming that Ramesh is already logged in, so it will come up with the information based on that. Otherwise, it would have asked for a basic level of KYC and an OTP based onboarding and understanding of identifying of Ramesh. If you see, Ramesh has already given his customer ID. What this bot has come up with is based on your history and your interest and goals. It's talking about what are medium risk, high risk, and higher ROI. It's talking about recommendations, but it's also talking about a disclaimer, because this is one of the guardrails that Cumulus Wealth has set up in over here. So he's satisfied with the answer. He just says thanks and moves on. Now let's look at it from a point of view of a relationship manager, because I was saying it also works for your internal employees. Karthik is a relationship manager. He's recently joined in Cumulus Wealth, and basically he wants to now understand his existing customer base and build relationship with them. So assuming Shilpa is one of his customers, I'm just walking you through the journey, how it would be. So basically he logs into his CRM, he looks at what needs to be done, and let me just show you what that view looks like. So once Karthik is on his Salesforce dashboard, CRM dashboard, so he's looking at basically what most of his customers are, what their portfolio is, how they are performing, what is prioritized. Coming to Shilpa's profile, if you look at, here is the entire profile, the whole customer 360. Here is the predictive scoring that we were talking about, propensity to increase the wallet share, engagement score. We have all kinds of data over here, relationship, birth date, life events, financial accounts. But this is just too overwhelming for me and for multiple customers. So let me leverage AI, generative AI, to help understand a basic quick profile of Shilpa, who she is, what her key priorities are. And I've just invoked Einstein. Einstein is Salesforce's brand for AI. Einstein will help me understand. So this is the assistive agent that we were talking about. The assistive agent is going to help me summarize what Shilpa is all about. So if you read here, so Shilpa saying what her portfolio is, what her financial plans and goals are. She's looking at her daughter's education fund, what her servicing requests have been. Basically, if you see, the last interaction was on her retirement fund, and it also talks about recommendations and what the next steps should be. So Ramesh looks at it, he finds this interesting. He also wants to know further. And now I'm talking about, you have your employees who are at different skill levels. So if I'm talking about, maybe you want to maintain a certain kind of standard, a brand standard that you have as Cumulus Wealth, and which also comes in the kind of communication that goes on, in the kind of, the skill sets they have. So if you see, even if I've talked about, I was trying to ask, like, what is the highest financial gap to achievement in her goal? And if you see, it made a mistake, but it's the Einstein still gave the right recommendation that, biggest achievement gap is in her retirement planning. It also said that what should be the talking points for Karthik to go and talk to Shilpa about, which will resonate most with her. Karthik also wants to know if there are any open complaints that are on priority with Shilpa. Luckily, there are none. So now Karthik is convinced this is information good enough to set up first level of meeting. He again leverages Gen AI and will ask the agent Einstein to help him draft an email. So if you see, he can automate the email, which is right in this one window in his workflow. All he has to do is invoke Einstein again, ask Einstein to draft an email and talk about, so basically help me draft an email introducing that I'm the relationship manager to Shilpa, and I want to discuss her portfolio requirements. So now what it'll do is it will invoke the customer 360, the right references. It talks about, I'm your new relationship manager. I would greatly appreciate, if you can give me time. And it can also talk about some talking points. Similarly, it can also service, any kind of knowledge requirements. So the number of use cases are unlimited here.